Gemini 3 is here and it looks very promising. Shows new level of reasoning and strong agentic coding capabilities. So I want to try it out today to vibe code an app using the AI Studio. But first, let's look at the launch blog post for the release. As you can see, they're claiming it to be the most intelligent model that lets you bring any idea to life. You can go ahead and watch this video. It's pretty cool. But what really got me was how it performed on all these benchmarks. So you can see with Gemini 3 Pro, it scored more than any other model that's out there on the Terminal Bench 2.0. Let me zoom in a little bit. But as you can see, it is doing 54.2%, whereas the closest is GPT 5.1 at 47.6%. The other one to look for is the Math Arena Apex, where it's leading by a huge margin from not only Gemini 2.5 Pro, but also the Claude Sonnet and GPT-5 at whopping 23.4%. But these are the benchmarks. The other one that looked really interesting to me is the Screen Spot Pro, which is the screen understanding. So again, the margin is very huge, as you can see, in comparison to 2.5 Pro, which was at 11.4%. Gemini 3 Pro is 72.7%, and you can see also the comparison with Claude Sonnet and GPT 5.1. So let's put this to test just for vibe coding. So I'm gonna be using Google AI Studio. If you don't know, so I'll be using the AI Studio, and for that I'll be using the Google AI Studio. And as you can see, I've selected the Gemini 3 Pro preview as the model. As for the idea that I want to build or vibe code, it'll be an analytics web app to see the Python package downloads. So if you don't know, Python has a package manager, PyPI. So Python has a package manager just like Node. And what I want to do is to be able to see the downloads and installs for a certain package or library or framework. So I'm gonna put that in the prompt and we'll just try to zero shot it. So as you can see, I've got here, can you help me build a web app for looking up Python package manager downloads and installs analytics? The user should be able to search the analytics for a given Python or pip package, also generate a badge for the number of downloads for their GitHub repo. So if you don't know, if you look at Fast API or any of the open source Python packages or frameworks, you usually have these buttons in the markdown files or the readmes that shows how many installs or how many downloads have been done. So I want this web app to be able to generate that as well, not only just the analytics or along with the analytics itself. So we'll click on build, and now what you'll see is it'll start thinking, but also you have these cards that you can toggle through. This basically, sometimes Gemini suggests some additional features that you might want to consider for your application you're building. So in this case, it says add historical data down. So in this case, it says add historical download trends. So allow users to view download trends over time for a specific package, providing deeper insights into its popularity and growth. So you can add this to the chat and it will be added to the next prompt. And you can go through different suggestions or ideas that Gemini has. It also says implement user accounts for saved packages. Now, while it's generating that code, you can see that thought for 26 seconds and has been running for 72 seconds so far. But you can expand the thought and you can see how the AI tackled the prompt. Since we are zero shotting it, since the prompt itself, apart from the core functionality of the web app, didn't include any key details on what APIs to use or what tech it needs to use with all the features. I just told him that I need an analytics web app that lets me search for Python packages. So you can see the reasoning behind the Gemini 3 Pro here, thinking about the architecture, incorporating AI insights. So this will be interesting. Optimizing data acquisition, and then you can also see the styling, the visuals, structuring the application. So it did that for 26 seconds, and you can kind of see the thinking behind the model, but these are all the files that it generated. Now, before I try this app, as you can see, this is what it generated. It's dark theme. I like it. It's a bluish dark theme with some gradients here and there. What I also want to show you is you can directly save this to GitHub. As on the top right side, you can see the button, and you can then version control this. But also there's a deploy button. So this lets you deploy it to, I think, Google Cloud Run, where you can then have this in production, share it with others. But if you switch to the code tab here, you can see all the files that it generated with all the code in these files. So as you can see, it ran for 84 seconds to generate this web app. Let's try it out. I really like Fast API to build my REST APIs in Python. So we'll search that Python package here and see what data is it able to pull. So we can already see Fast API framework, high performance, easy to learn, fast to code, ready for production. It is at version 0.122. We can already see it has that badge generator. You can use this button in your readmes. It has two styles, the modern style and the flat style, and it gives the markdown HTML to copy and paste directly into your readme. And for some reason, it has this page called Gemini Insights. So this is AI analysis. I guess this is some kind of AI analysis that Gemini generates on the package, which I didn't ask for if you look the prompt itself. So I think that this was added automatically by Gemini, but it is not functioning right now. And what you can see is if I look at the console of the AI Studio here, you can see it says tool use with a response MIME type application JSON is unsupported, and it says status invalid argument. So we got an error, I guess, from the tool use that it's trying to use within Gemini. So it's making an API request. Also, there was a warning that the stats fetch failed. So this might be a CORS issue, even though it was able to pull the monthly downloads, I guess. So if I scroll down, you'll see it is able to pick up that error from the console itself, or the terminal window, if you want to call that. Let's click on autofix. And now it'll already see this error and try to find a solution for that. Let's see what it does. While we are at it, I already mentioned the warning one, and I think this is where the download data was supposed to render as a card, and it didn't because of the fetch failing. But we'll get to that after it's able to fix this one, the Gemini analysis. So it updated some of the files, as you can see, 3 files in total, and we can also go over the fix it is trying. It thought for 99 seconds and ran for 114 seconds. It removed the conflicted configuration and rely on strong system prompt to enforce JSON output, manually parse, extract grounding sources, and display these resources in AI Insights component. Let's try Fast API again. So we can still see the fetch failed. Well, let's go down and see if the Gemini Insights were generated, and they were. So this is cool because I didn't ask for this in my prompt. So for it to have this like AI Insights tab, feels like the Gemini 3 is kind of pushing use of AI within my web app. So it has Fast API as a high performance Python framework, specially designed for building APIs quickly and efficiently. It leverages modern Python features like type hints and automatically generates interactive API documentation. Verdict is it is actively maintained, highly popular, production ready, and is one of the leading Python web frameworks, surpassing Django and Flask. And it also gave me the alternatives, that is Django, Flask, Starlet, Sanic, and Lightstar, and it says Gemini, generated by Gemini 2.5 Flash. All of this is good. I think the only issue is the no download data available. So let's try fixing that. And I want to show you a cool feature, which is in AI Studio to annotate the app. So now you can have a screenshot of this, and I'll add a comment here. So I'll highlight this and say, seems like there's no data available to show. Can we just fetch monthly downloads and show them here? And I'll hit the little tick mark, and I can add this to chat. So what will happen is, instead of me typing all of it out in the chat window, which we usually did before when we were vibe coding, you can just annotate in the preview window on what is wrong. So let's say if I wanted to change this logo, I can highlight this with the annotate app and then just send it to chat. So this kind of shows the multimodal capabilities of Gemini, as the screenshot will have the comment on the edits you want to make. I didn't do anything other than that. I didn't type in the prompt window or the chat window itself. So we'll see how it plans out those changes and what changes does it recommend if it's able to understand the comment that I made in the screenshot. So it made some edits, and you can see it ran for 161 seconds. And it says, to address your request, I will update the application to fetch and display recent download stats, specifically monthly downloads, as that's what I mentioned in the screenshot. So it updated types.ts at a recent field to formatted stats to hold last day, week, month data. Updated the PyPy service.ts, so it's fetching data from pypystats.org as a fallback or supplementary source to get the last month. Again, all of this information was not mentioned by me in the prompt. As you can see, we are just 3 prompts in. So in a better scenario, I would include all the APIs that it can use to fetch the data in itself. But I wanted to try giving it an ambiguous prompt and see how far it can get, which it's pretty good. I just want to see cool graphs if it can fetch those data points. So let's try it out. As you can see, it reloaded. So still stick with Fast API, do a search, and could not fetch recent stats. Failed to fetch. PyPy, which I guess is another one, failed to fetch. So it has supplementary sources now, but it seems like that it failed to fetch from both of them. So I guess to save time, I'll try in another chat window and use the PyStats, I guess, or look into what kind of APIs are available to get these stats. So I ran the same prompt again, and as you can see, nothing different. And it generated a pretty cool, similar looking web app. I didn't define anything like dark theme or make it look bluish, but this time it did design it a bit different. Also, there were some errors which I was able to fix. And as you can see, I did a Fast API search, and you can see it says it's able to fetch the weekly, the 30-day downloads, also the version. It does look a bit different than the other one. So the other one is still here, but I'm happy with it. Looks pretty cool. It was also able to create a graph for me with the downloads itself. Again, I didn't mention any of this in the prompt itself. As you can see, the only thing I did was fix an issue. So there was the same issue, failed to fetch, and it was able to fix it by itself. Also, in this one as well, which is interesting, it gave this AI-powered package insights. So it's trying to push the use of, I guess, Gemini API. So I can click on generate report, and it'll do the Gemini analysis, the common use cases, executive summary, trend analysis, and alternatives. But also it has the badge generator towards the end, and this one is better, even though I didn't say anything to make it a certain way. But this is the previous one, or the other chat window vibe coded app. This is the new one, and you can see you can select different styles, and it updates in real time over here. Social, flat, and then you can copy the markdown over here with the HTML toggle. So pretty happy with this one. Again, so I didn't change a lot, and I ran into the same issue of where it was failing to fetch the stats, but it was able to fix it itself in the second prompt itself, where it says I have fixed the fail to fetch errors by implementing a CORS proxy. So it was the CORS issue. it was not creating that proxy in the previous chat we were having with Gemini. Here it was able to use that and handle that. So pretty cool. Let's try one of my packages. So if you don't know, I created AWS Sentinel. We'll click Analyze. So it is able to pull, not so popular as Fast API, but 4 weekly downloads, 61 total, and you can see kind of the cool graph. Let's try and generate the AI-powered Gemini analysis. And it says AWS Sentinel is a Python package designed to scan and assess the security posture of AWS resources. It helps identify potential misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, and deviations from security best practices. Give some good alternatives, some trend analysis. Now I'm able to generate this cool badge for my GitHub repo, which I can just copy the markdown now. So very cool. But as for the application itself, it looks pretty good to me. Even if we look at it full screen, I can tell that it's vibe coded because of the certain themes that I tried to use. But nevertheless, it's functional. This is what I wanted. So I can deploy this to Google Cloud Run and maybe have the public link in the description for you all to test it out. I'll just have to create a new project, which will create a new project in Google Cloud, and then that resource will be Google Cloud Run service, which will give you all the accessible public URL. So I was able to import one of my Google Cloud projects, and as you can see, it already deployed it. It literally took a few seconds, and now we have this URL for the Google Cloud Run service, which I go to is the web app itself. So I'll make sure this link is in the description so that you can try it out and search for your own Python packages that you like and see the stats. A very cool feature within the AI Studio to handle the deployment, but also I'll have it saved to GitHub so that we can build future functionality. But for this video, I wanted to quickly show you how vibe coding with Gemini 3 looks like, specifically in the AI Studio. Now, for the next video, I want to try out Google's anti-gravity, their own AI code editor, so it'll be interesting. So make sure to comment down if you want me to try out anti-gravity, and maybe we can take this project further using anti-gravity. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.